Call the meeting to order. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we will move on to the first order of business. Public announcements. For the 2018-2019 tax foreclosed property acquired by the town on January 19th, 2021, the 30-day buyback period, all outstanding debts shall be paid by Tuesday, February 22nd, 2021 at 3 p.m. Second order of business is public hearings. To hear public comment on an application for a new liquor license submitted by the Purple Cow Restaurant, LLC, DBA Purple Cow House of Pancakes, located at 6 Skowhegan Road in Fairfield. The public hearing is declared open. Are there any public comments?
Purple Cow is on the line.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, this is Alex. How are you?
Okay, you may make some comments if you wish.
Well, if you have any questions for him,
Right.
I wanted you to
The
know.
application's pretty straightforward.
Are there any questions from anybody?
Nope.
There being none there, I will ask the clerk to verify no impediments via police background check.
So there were no
Impediment.
issues or impediments
Yeah.
when Police Chief Gould did the background checks. Some of the members are out of state, but he did verify that all the addresses that were provided were actual addresses, not fictitious in nature. And this particular group owns 2 other prominent stores in the
Okay.
central Maine region. And I verified with the state of Maine that they are in fact a valid applicant. So I see no reason not to move forward.
Okay, any questions from the council? All right.
No.
This public hearing is now closed. Third order of business, public comments, limit 3-minute equivalent to public speaking. Members of the public may email comments for the council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m., day of meeting, on any topic or agenda item, and items may be read aloud at this time. Do we have any?
None received.
There being none, we move on to the fourth order of business.
Sue, can you mute your microphone, please? Never mind, I did it.
Good job.
Okay.
Oh, power.
Yeah. All right, so the third order of business, there was no items or anything that anybody sent in. Fourth order of business is reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
Right, so the waterfront planning survey and press release is scheduled to go out tomorrow.
Good.
Thank you to the council and staff for being our test audience and providing feedback on the survey process. Most folks said it was anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes to take that, so that was really good. The information provided in this short online survey will help the Economic Community Development Committee get set goals and priorities with regards to the waterfront, and that data is also going to be very useful with regard to grant opportunities. We've found in the past with various grants that we were trying to apply for, we were lacking some of that data, so this is going to hopefully be helpful with that. I also received notification this week that all of the available commercial properties on Industrial Road are currently under purchase and sales agreements. So that's very exciting in that entire area. And then just today, it was brought to my attention that the Maine Department of Marine Resources is recommending that the Shawmut Dam be decommissioned and removed. We had thought that the comment period was going to end on Friday. It has been extended until the end of February. I'm currently working on a document that we would use to provide testimony, because one of the pieces with the rulemaking with this says that there's no fiscal impact to the municipalities. The dam property represents about $20 million worth of value for the town of Fairfield, and that's a substantial amount of tax revenue that would be lost, not to mention the other impact that it has. It was actually brought to our attention by Sappy Paper, because if the water levels are lowered, it would make their intake and outfall pipes above water level, which would mean a substantial investment on their behalf. And I'm not sure yet what the Hudamaki piece is. It also includes the decommissioning of the Lockwood Mill and the Lockwood Dam in Waterville. It wasn't on their radar either, because they're working on a $11 million project for the Winslow-Waterville Bridge, which basically sits on a portion of that dam, and nobody there knew about that either. So it's left a lot of us in the area from Waterville to Skowhegan scrambling to try to put something together on this. So it'll be back to you at your next meeting. We'll have time to be able to review the document and before it goes forward anywhere. So we have that. And then also, I just wanted to point out tonight to you that your goals and standards, which you discussed at your last meeting, and there really wasn't any changes to, there was a slight addition in your packet. What we had done is I went through, I had staff collecting data on the number of grants that they had received in the last year. And I just really wanted to make sure you saw that this addition, it's not anything that you need to approve. They're all grants that we've done, but it basically shows that within the last fiscal year, the municipality has received $410,000 worth of grants. And the math on here shows a $286,000 match, but really the biggest influence in this is the MPI project for the Weston Savage Street for DOT. If you take that project out, it's over $200,000 worth of grant opportunities that the staff have procured, in which our investment was less than $10,000. So these departments have done a really great job at trying to find resources in which they can have a great impact that aren't influenced by our tax dollars. So I just really wanted to make sure I brought that to your attention. And if you needed to pull the goals piece off your consent agenda, you would know that that was there if you want to discuss it further, but I just want to make sure you're aware of that. And that is it for me.
Okay. Any question by the council to the town manager? There being none, move on to committee reports.
None of the other committees that I'm aware of have met.
Have met, okay. Scratch that one. Now we move on to the fifth order of business, which is the consent agenda. Now, these items are considered routine and standard business, and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered sequentially on the agenda. The first item is 2106. Order the Town Fairfield Council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes of the meeting of 2021-01 held on January 13th, 2021. The second item is 2107. Order the Town Council hereby approves the Treasurer's warrant number 45 General Fund in the amount of $208,303.62. That would be the Kennebec Water District, Hydrant Rental, MMEHT, Pike Industries, and New England Salt. Item 2108, ordered the Town Council hereby adopts the Town Council Administrative Policy and Addendum A fee schedule. And item 2109, ordered that the Town Council hereby adopts the Town Council Goals and Standards 2021.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion per consent agenda protocol. I will now call for a roll call vote. Stephanie Thibodeau.
Yay.
Michael Taylor.
Yes.
Mark Cooper.
Yes.
Peter Lawrence.
Yes.
And John Pachatti, yes. Unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Sixth order of business, to take action on the following items of business as read by the council chair. And this would be item 2110, ordered that the town council hereby approves a new liquor license Class 1 restaurant application submitted by the Purple Cow Restaurant LLC DBA, Purple Cow House of Pancakes, located at 6 Skowhegan Road in Fairfield.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wish them well and thank you for keeping the Purple Cow open in Fairfield.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, roll call. Stephanie?
Yay.
Michael?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
John? Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're all set. Okay, this would go to item 2113. Ordered that the town council hereby schedules a special meeting of the Fairfield Town Council to be held in council chambers for the purpose of reviewing and discussing the draft for year 2021 and 2022 budget on Saturday, February 6th at 2021 at 8 a.m.
So move.
Second.
As it's discussion, is this a problem for anybody, or anybody have a problem with it?
No, I'm good with it.
It's the first Saturday,
It's the first Saturday of the month.
so not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday.
Right.
There's a
Anything there,
couple
Michael?
other pieces too.
Apparently, I've got a budget meeting on the 6th, so.
Yeah, so you probably have to.
Yeah, I'll have to
kill
go
that
to-
budget meeting
Yeah.
and cut to this one.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
have to go to this one.
Okay. Stephanie,
Wait, I've got a couple.
Yay.
oh, wait a minute, okay, sorry, town manager's got something to
Just
say.
a couple of things to discuss. One, you have received your budget packets and all of
Yeah.
your nonprofit requests. When you look at your budget total cover sheet, the numbers that are in there are the same exact numbers that were approved last year.
Okay,
The numbers in the nonprofit organization spreadsheet represents the requests. And the reason I've done that is simply because of, to be able to show you what the projections were, because normally those are typically flat funded.
yep,
So right now, the budget as presented represents an increase of $17,527. That's a 0.87% increase.
okay,
What has helped us this year is health insurance did not go up. It stayed the same, so that able to go through there. Your increases, your overall increases in the budget, you're going to find in most of your departments, they're all our union departments that had scheduled increases within their union contracts. And we know that for the last couple of years, we have been playing catch-up with a lot of our staff simply because of the fact that we have found, through various different wage studies, that we were behind. So these are pieces that have already been set by union contracts that have been approved, and you'll notice that in a lot of these department budgets as you go through, that most of the influences are adjusted in wages. There was a slight change to the in-town paving request. Last year, we did $250,000 from undesignated fund balance. This year, we only have $150,000 worth of work. It's a lot of work. It wasn't necessarily as much money. So that has been scaled back with $100,000 coming less than from the undesignated fund balance. Last year, you did $700,000 from the undesignated fund balance, and this year's projection is $500,000. Our fund balance is still extremely healthy. We have almost $1 million surplus in our fund balance at this point, but we didn't want to go too tight with taking another $700,000 and leaving a small amount in the fund balance.
yep,
But you'll see that represented on the revenues page. It shows you exactly what our balance was as of June 30, what we need for 3 months, and what the remainder is. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the budget. The next piece that I need to make sure you're fully aware of and is going to require a decision very quickly, probably by your next meeting as to how you're going to proceed, is town meeting in and of itself. The order that allowed the town council last year to circumvent the town charter and not have town meeting in May, but to do it in July, that governor order expired January 15th. So unless a new order comes down in the meantime, you are currently required to have annual town meeting on the second Monday in May. You also can't have any more than 50 people inside this building. So if you were to do a referendum, which can be done, we would need to do it on the second Monday in May. And the timetables for that require at least a 60-day lead time. So there's a lot of stuff that would have to happen between now and then. So this isn't something that we're going to be able to sit around and dally on. So probably by your next meeting, you're going to need to have a real serious conversation about how we're going to handle town meeting. If not, we'll miss some deadlines that we'll need to hit in order to do it that way. I know that the governor's office is working on this, the Secretary of State's office is working on this, because there were a lot of folks who had March town meetings last year that missed all of the COVID changes, where their issues have now come into question and they're trying to be addressed. So I think we're going to see some more action on elections. There was a recent update that did come out that said that the rules that, the provisions that allowed you to circumvent the charter did expire on the 15th of this month. So we're waiting on that piece, but just be thinking of that.
And what was our turnout last year as far as participation?
Oh, I don't commit that number to memory.
For June,
It was,
800 and something?
Yeah.
July, 800 and something?
could have been 7 something, but right around
Oh,
800.
we will find that for you exactly what that number is, but I'm relatively certain it was 700 or 800 people that participated last year when we had our referendum in July. Now, there was a lot going on then too, but the concern is that you can't, the difficulty of telling, the 51st person you can't come in is going to be a big problem when it comes to town meeting.
Right, and
And you
50,
can't do town meeting via Zoom. You absolutely cannot do it electronically. You can do it via Zoom, sort of, as long as everybody's under the same roof. And you're still not going to be able to fit, the
With a-
voting population of the town of Fairfield in this building. And it's a bit cold the second Monday in May to do it outside.
March.
May.
May.
Oh, sorry, May. I was thinking of something else.
So 50 versus
May.
700 or 800, so,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put all the, the town clerk has started working on all of these details with all of these deadlines and benchmarks that need to be met. We'll have all of that for you. And at that point, you will, by your next meeting in February, you will also already had your budget meeting. So during that workshop, we can discuss it some more too, if folks have some questions, so.
good, thank you.
All right, very good. Okay. So we're looking, we have a call for motion. Is there any more discussion? All right, Stephanie?
Yay.
Michael?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And John is yes.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Now we move to the seventh order of business, which is a council workshop and other business. The first on that order of business is discuss comprehensive plan, finance, capital investment, and
No,
we
it's
are
not.
looking, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
Okay,
Pay no attention to that woman in
paying
the corner.
attention. All right, presentation to the council from the finance, capital investment, presentation to the council from the First National Wealth Management,
And I
which we
do,
will have via Zoom.
Matt Weaver, I do believe is on the line from First National.
Hey, good evening, folks. Thanks for having me, and look forward to meeting you all in person when we get past this terrible pandemic. I have some very good news to report. The town's reserves and trust funds did extremely well from the date that we started to manage, which is April 1st, and through December, the return was just under 16%, 15.97. We patiently waited for the assets to move over in March, but once we had received those assets, we realigned the portfolio to our investment process, which was, as we noted in our RFP, that we were lowering our exposure to individual securities, removing that headline risk from the portfolio, and those proceeds were invested in mutual funds that provide diversification exposure to all markets. Our funds performed very well versus their respective benchmarks. In fact, the Fidelity Growth Fund that's in the portfolio had a return of 67% last year, which is just remarkable. But it says something about the large cap tech stocks have been in favor for several years, and it certainly played out that way last year as we recovered from the deep downturn we had in March. On the fixed income side, we reduced default risk by lowering the town's exposure to corporate bonds, and we're continuing to do that. We are moving the proceeds into low-cost bond funds, primarily from Vanguard, and they're providing stability and income to the portfolio. And as these individual bonds mature over the next year or so, we'll continue to do that and move into the fund space. We're going to periodically rebalance the portfolio. We, in fact, just did that several weeks ago after the new year. We had moved up on the equity side, obviously, with the appreciation, and we moved that allocation down to fit the town's investment policy, which is approximately 20-25% stocks, 75% bonds, and money market. Going forward, we're going to see a rotation in equity markets. We feel these large cap tech stocks that have outperformed are, we like to say, they're priced to perfection, if you will. And Apple just reported several hours ago and blew out their quarterly numbers, but yet the stock is down in the aftermarket, which is says something about these tech stocks have really appreciated in value. And we're going to be seeking out more of a value stocks over the next year or so as we believe they're going to catch up to large cap. And because we added those asset classes to the portfolios, such as mid cap, small cap, emerging markets, we feel that we're going to take advantage of these market trends as investors are looking for more value going forward. Yield is going to be difficult going forward. The Fed has indicated they're going to keep this accommodative policy for some time. So we're going to have to, manage the fixed income side of the portfolio conservatively to keep our exposure to bonds short term in order to manage interest rate risk. And we also do a little bit of hedging by using inflation protected funds, which helps us lower the beta or the risk of the portfolio. So that's a brief overview. I'm happy to drill down on any of these points if you have any questions. But we love how the market bounced back after that March decline, and as I said, we waited patiently for the former advisor to move those assets over to us. But once we had them, we made the changes that we mentioned in our RFP response last year. So overall, we're very pleased, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions?
Not at this
That's
time.
Stephanie.
Stephanie,
I do.
any questions?
Okay. First of all, I was very pleased to see all of the transactions that took place during the whole year. That was interesting. But
Good.
on the second page of the report, the beginning market value and the ending market value, am I right in thinking that we've gained $645,000 plus? You gave it as a percentage, but
Yes,
is that our
yes,
gain for the year?
That's the gain as of April 1st. I look back at a Bar Harbor statement as of December 31st of 2019, and I believe the town had about 4.6 million at that point. So the town did gain over 600,000 in the period that we managed. But for the year, for the calendar year, it's closer to about 400,000.
Okay, I still think that's well done. Thank you.
Sure.
If you remember correctly, last year, we took some pretty major hits in our investment because of how our funds were, being invested. And that was one of the big changes that we needed to make, was we needed to make sure that we weren't so dependent on a stock market crash and make sure things were a bit more secure. Mainly, the biggest thing that brought it all to our attention, of course, was we had some years where the Crawford Fund was entitled to $80,000 and some years where they ended up being $17,000 in the hole. So
Yeah.
we wanted to create better stability for the band and chorus project at the school, and this was one of the bigger pieces. And just as we were going through this RFP process, there was quite a bit of volatility in the stock market at that time. And it took quite some time for our stocks to even be moved around from one entity to another, and mostly based upon how the market was performing. But we're definitely very happy with the stability that we've received, and hopefully that will continue to go forward, because like we've said, something is always better than nothing, and slow growth is better than a decline, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very
Okay,
much, Matt.
very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
Matt.
We're very happy to be working with the town. And again, looking forward to meeting you all in person
Someday.
down the road. Someday. Someday.
Okay. Now, moving on the seventh order of business to the land use plan. And this will be a presentation from Kevin Violet, Planning Board Chair. Is Kevin on?
Kevin is on.
Good evening.
Good evening.
There he is.
Welcome.
Regional coordination. Okay, no, go ahead.
Good evening,
You're on.
Kathy.
Yeah, you're on,
Okay.
Kevin.
Can't hear him.
Hear me?
Yes.
We're going to turn you up a little bit
Yeah, we're
on
going
our
to turn you up a
side.
little bit.
There you are.
In review with Nicole Martin, some of the items that we could be working on, I was drawn back to the 2014 comprehensive plan. And on page 147, back in 2014, it outlined to pursue the development of Riverfront Park along the Kennebec, item 1, expand usage of urban parks, dog walk parks, community gardens, and places to hold community events. And the third item on that list, actually, is clean up sidewalks and walking trails and that type thing. So there were two simple recommendations that we may have from our planning board tonight. And one would be to look towards completing the river walk path across that to Mill Island. That would complete this walking path along the Kennebec. And another area that could use a lot of encouragement and development would be just upstream from the Fairfield boat launch. There are foundation systems there, a great place for decks to complement the downtown businesses, that you could get a pizza, walk down to the riverfront on the town deck. We really need to capitalize on that waterfront and provide services to the townspeople that live in town and people out of town that would come downtown for an evening on the deck, on the riverfront. Really need to take advantage and put some investment into those downtown properties. Main Street looks great, really doing a good job trying to support those businesses, and the businesses on Main Street doing a fabulous job for our town. There's no question about that. So again, one recommendation going back to 2014, which is the strategies to encourage growth in growth areas, is work on that waterfront. It'll be a little investment, but it'll be a great return to our downtown and to our townspeople that walk every night, want to walk Mill Park, want to cross the river. Great thing that we should be working on. The second item is, if you look closely at our 139 and 201 corridors, those are the only areas that will take future commercial development. We need tax base, we need jobs. Just hearing the impact that the Shawmut Dam could have on our tax base, we need to be looking closely at our land use map and widening the corridors on those commercial roads that were designed to take heavy commercial traffic. And if we can get, again, tax base, jobs for local people, absolutely, we need to fine tune that map, that colored map that gives us our land use map, district map, and look at these corridors that have some value. I'm sure there's a lot of people looking for 10, 20, 30 acres along those corridors that would commercially develop, and we need to develop a strategy where we recognize that, and that's where our tax base is going to be built. Hearing that the industrial park is filling up, that's great, but we need to really think about expanding our tax base and giving support to the town and utilizing these assets and that waterfront. Use that riverfront to your advantage. That's all I have to say tonight.
Any questions for Kevin? Anyone? No? Well, we've got no questions for you, but I agree with you
Stephanie does.
wholeheartedly. Oh, Stephanie?
Yeah.
I was on mute,
She was
John. I'm
muted.
sorry.
Okay, well, unmute.
First of all, Kevin, I would like to thank you for all the years that you've put in on the planning board. And the economic committee is really, I hope you do the survey when you see it come up, okay? And I agree with you on the riverfront and the 139 and 201 corridors. And the growth areas, there were, if you look on page 148 in the comprehensive plan, there's some more bullets. And I'm looking at, because I've gone down through each of these and I've given them a check or a check plus or a check minus, just so you know. And the check minuses on page 148 was to develop areas as a gateway to the downtown with improved entry signs and traffic calming. And then prepare a bicycle pedestrian plan for the downtown and our region. And we have talked with DOT on that, and it's really on the back burner at this point. But do you see anything else on page 148 that you think that we should be looking at? I feel like we've done pretty much a good job on all of those other bullets, except for those two.
That's good. And the last item actually on that list is, which I think is kind of important, is create a new Main Street master plan and apply, which town has done, some of these grants for the facade repairs. But a Main Street master plan would turn and tie the parking lots, buildings to the riverfront deck, to that waterfront. There are foundation systems down there that would support a deck now, which would be kind of cool because it's the original foundation from the logging operations.
Right. Okay. And so the only time I have seen those is when the river has been really low. Can you see those now?
They're at water level or at least 6 to 8 inches above water level.
Kind of down,
and they're brick piers and foundations. But yes, they would have to come up an elevation of 3 or 4 feet. And this thing would have to be flood proof if it was built. But it's right on the water. It's right off the town parking lot. It's a walking distance from the sandwich shops on Main Street. If we turned and faced that river and introduced people to all that parking down there and the recreation that's available down there, with very little investment, be kind of cool to go down and again, have that on the river in downtown Fairfield, right within sight of the community center. Great location we need to take advantage of on this riverfront thing. The bicycle, I agree, the bicycle situation, to have a path, but the crossing that was designed to go at the end of Western Avenue to Mill Island, that crossing should be pursued. That would be quite an interesting little highlight to downtown. All the downtown walkers would be using it. It would turn our Mill Park into something accessible from 2 locations instead of a dead-end street. And that is a huge gem over there, that park. The people that use that, it's really cool to see that being utilized. So with a few minor tweaks of our downtown waterfront, we can turn Main Street into a waterfront accessible park, as well as this crossing at the end of Western Avenue with adequate safety crossings there. We could really turn a nice loop of walking through that park, which is a gem. That island park is just fabulous.
And I agree with you. We have talked about the walking bridge. We may have to bring that back up on our economic committee meetings, so. Again, it's money and insurance. It's safety stuff.
And knowing that committee, because the benefit to downtown would be tremendous.
Yeah. So these are what we should be looking at now. And actually, they're future goals, we'll say. For the planning board, what are your current needs?
Nicole Martin does a fabulous job for us. She has reacted to all the recent trends on our board, which is solar farm, the marijuana grows, housing needs on Main Street. She has modified our ordinance very nicely on the fly, and we don't really need, in my opinion, a total redo of our comprehensive plan because there have been minor tweaks that have adjusted to current situations. And who knew 10 years ago we'd have gas lines under our streets, we'd have solar farms. We just crossed the Kennebec River with a gas line from flood. So we're seeing a lot of new, different things, and she's reacting very well for our board to keep us in tune and organized for that. So we don't have any other immediate needs, but selfishly, let's take care of that riverfront in downtown Fairfield.
And I'm right with you. Thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate this time.
Well,
I'm all done, John.
You're done. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, actually, that crossing bridge is something that when we originally started the Economic Development Committee, that bridge was one of the first things that was brought up, was to somehow get a walk bridge from Main Street over to Mill Island. And then the other situation is possibly even moving the market there, the
Farmers market.
farmers market over there for people too. So that was one of the original parts of that Economic Development Committee. But you're dead on, Kevin, on exactly what you said.
Yep. Thumbs up.
Okay, if there is nothing else, we can let Kevin go home and,
I think Kevin probably is home.
oh, okay. Drive careful. All right. Okay, so moving on to our next situation is the second order in the seventh order of business. And that is to discuss the annual town report dedication.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Missed regional coordination
Thank you.
under the comprehensive plan.
Did we miss it or just skip it?
No. Well, that's the last section in the comprehensive plan.
Okay, I'm
And
sorry.
we have actually been talking regional coordination right from the get-go. And it's everything there, I believe, unless Michelle wants to say something. I think we've done a darn good job.
Yep.
And it's something that's ongoing and it's growing. So I think that's we're in a very good place with that. Michelle, did you want to add anything?
I think you're exactly right, Stephanie. The staff do a tremendous job about trying to partner with folks within our region, especially if it's even remotely cost-sharing capabilities, but also it's for assistance and those sort of pieces. It could be joint purchasing, it could be a whole host of things. And I think as you've gone through this review of the comprehensive plan, all of this past year, there have been regional coordination pieces that have come out of every
Yeah.
single section that we've done. So
Yeah.
I think they need to be commended for that, and they're always looking for different ways in which we can partner with folks. So I think they're doing a great job when it comes to that.
Yeah, and when you look at the comprehensive plan, there are some sections that we really haven't done anything with. But when I'm looking at utilize the Kennebec River as a learning resource, I think that would be a result of actually updating the riverfront, and that would be a result of doing that. There are some things we might be able to do. I read the report on the Kennebec Valley, on the Kennebec River Valley, and that was done back in the 1990s, and that's a state document. And what we have going for us is the fishing, and that's about it in our section of the Kennebec River. So I really think that, you know, once we target or do something with our river frontage, working on a conservation commission, joining or becoming involved with land trusts. I mean, some of this stuff is nice, but I think you need to have a need to go and do that. And right now, we've got some more pressing things that are happening.
Yes.
So when I give my final report, I'll make mention of those items that are on page 151 and 152. And I think that's something when the comprehensive plan is worked up again, discussion will need to take place. So anyways, but overall, regional coordination is wonderful. And I'm very pleased with it. I'm done, John.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So now we'll move on. Sorry about that. Okay, now this will be the second one, which is to discuss the annual town report dedication. We've got, you know, some people that had been added, things like that. And I'm going to, at this point, which was left off the list unfortunately by just so much going on and by mistake, we lost a tremendous person and citizen of Fairfield about 3 or 4 days ago. It was Norman Kenny. I don't know if any of you gentlemen knew Norman. Norman had a wonderful, it was called Kenny's Custom Floors. It was a great business that was here up until they actually built where our bridge is going over to Benton. His building sat right there. They had to take the building down to move the bridge over to run the bridge. But anyway, and he was a phenomenal businessman, did tremendous work and stuff. He was also, did a carpenter's business and had that going. He was one of the people that I will say that was primarily the person that got the Lawrence High School hockey program moving. Norman spent years putting up and doing the outside ice rinks. He shoveled them in the wintertime. He would bring the water in and would pour the water down and have that, and had the ice rinks and put up actually built over on
Savage Street over there.
yeah,
the old farm.
where the farm used to be, where it's all houses now, but had a complete that, put up poles for electric and stuff like that and that. And I think personally, this is just my opinion, I think Norman deserves a dedication of the annual report dedication, because he just did a tremendous job and stuff, and he did so much for the town, and he did it under the table. You know, he wasn't out there sticking up and cheering and bringing all his good stuff, you know. And he did it because he wanted to do it, and he just brought it back to the town.
He just died 4 days ago, John?
Yeah, he died, trying to think, today is, I think it was last Thursday or Friday. It was more than 4 days, a little bit more than 4 days ago. It was last Thursday or Friday. He had a heart attack and died down in Portland. His son, Wayne, was the former owner of the
Belangers.
Belangers, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a good person to have as a dedication. I'll make a motion that Norman Kenny be in the dedication for this year's budget report.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call. Any discussion? Any more discussion? All right, roll call. Stephanie?
Yay.
Michael?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
John, yes.
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay, then moving on down to the Spirit of America Award, annual award. So discussion. Anybody?
Well, this is me, John. I've got an idea.
Okay.
The Fairfield VFW Post and 6924 and the VFW Women's Auxiliary. I think that the Spirit of America Award should be recognizing them. And it's because of their volunteerism. And when I was doing Fairfield Days, every year we did it. They were there and they were very generous. And it's nice to be able to have someone like this in our town that understands what's going on, supports us, is civic-minded. So I would like to recommend that the Fairfield VFW Post and their Women's Auxiliary become the next recipients of the Spirit of America Award.
Discussion.
I'm amenable to that.
So was that a motion or a recommendation?
A recommendation.
Okay.
Well, why don't you make it a motion?
Yes.
Then I will do what I said as a motion. Do I have to repeat it?
No, you're good.
Yes, I need a second.
No, I was just going to add one
Okay,
of the
Christine.
other things that they've done that wasn't mentioned is just the thousands upon thousands of dollars that they have donated to the community for the food pantry, welfare and general assistance, that donation heating fuel account,
Yep.
the Christmas programs, they've wrapped,
And playground they gave a donation for playground funds for Mill Island Park.
Wow.
I'm done.
I will second her motion.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, did you already?
yeah, you had
Yeah,
one.
we got 2 seconds.
Sorry,
We got 2 seconds, make it quick.
Yeah, well, we got a third too.
I turned to listen. I didn't
All right, any more discussion, any discussion? Okay, we'll call for a vote. Stephanie?
Yay.
Michael?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
John, yes.
It's unanimous, thank you.
Okay. And next on the agenda is discuss other council business. Stephanie?
Okay, I have something. I was reading the Town Council Administrative Policies, and we have a section on page 9 called the Building Committee. And it says right at the beginning, "It shall be the policy of the Town Council that for any proposed new building or addition with construction costs estimated in excess of $50,000, there should be the council shall appoint an ad hoc advisory building committee subject to the following requirements," and it goes on. But what got me there was the idea of any proposed new building. And I know that SAD 49 is looking at a new primary school.
Yep.
And I didn't know if this pertained to that, or should we have a conversation?
They
with
got
the
a building committee already.
superintendent?
I don't think so. That's it's a separate entity technically from the town. They're their own council and that, so that, I don't believe that would apply to them.
So
Well, see, this is where I have a problem. About 70% of our property taxes goes towards education. And I really feel that with a new building coming into play, that as a town council, we should have some kind of representation on a building committee, even though there are other people from the town that's going to be on it. But I feel like we owe
It can't
a
happen.
responsibility to the townspeople.
It-
This is going to be very expensive.
I want to say something. Last Tuesday, I attended that meeting.
You were
And
great.
what I heard, that all our schools shouldn't be open for education at all. Because within the district, because they're really bad. You're saying if the repairs comes up to them, what comes out taxpayers' money. The only school the state would pay for is the primary school and the property. And if you want to do any repairs of like Albion or Clinton, that's millions and millions of dollars. And our tax money would go up more on that, so.
The thing of it is that looking at the Fairfield Primary School, and I'm going to go back a long time. In 1983, that school was looked at and was determined that it really wasn't that safe of a school and probably should be replaced. That was in 1983. All right, the school district got placed on the state's docket for money back in 2010, 2011, somewhere in that vicinity. And we knew it was going to take 8, 9, 10 years before it came up. We finally came up to the thing. So replacing that school and putting a new school up, really, I don't know that it's going to cost the district. It's going to be state money, not district money.
Correct. Just to repair, if they want to keep the schools open
Right.
in their areas,
Yeah,
will come out of district money.
right, on those particular schools. So that's something that they'll have to address as they move along. But unfortunately, from a town standpoint, there's nothing we can do about it.
So I believe the way this process works, okay, first of all, back to Stephanie's statement, the building committee is when the town of Fairfield does something with town of Fairfield taxpayer dollars.
Correct.
As opposed to the school having being a separate entity. And somebody did mention that there is supposedly a building committee, I think as a requirement of the process through the Department of Education when it comes to new
Yes.
school construction. But what you could do is you could send an invitation to the superintendent and Fairfield school board members, our school board representation, and ask them to join you via Zoom at your next meeting for an update on that process. And see if maybe they could attend a meeting and let you know what's going on. I was aware of we were made aware of the 2 public informational meetings that were held last week at the junior high gymnasium. I did have a conversation with the superintendent about that, considering the fact that it was right on the heels of them being declared an outbreak location and inviting the public in. I was a bit reckless, but I wasn't sure what their attendance was and whether people didn't get representation or because they were unable to attend in that manner. But I know that they're also looking into potential email locations where people can send questions, concerns, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's an email on their website.
Yeah, so
And
they were working on that.
presentation.
When I spoke to her, that wasn't in place at that time, but certainly we could send them a letter and ask them to attend your next meeting and give you an update of what's going on.
Michelle, you don't have to worry about attendance. Tuesday was only 12. Wednesday,
Yeah.
so
We were a
they
bit
didn't
concerned.
go over the
50 threshold.
No.
By any means. So, but I can certainly send that if that's you don't necessarily need a vote, but is that something
Right.
council would like me to do? Send a letter, see if they'd
Yeah, I
update
think,
us what's going
yeah,
on?
that would be a good fishing expedition.
Certainly.
Yeah.
We can do that.
At least we owe it to our citizens in Fairfield to have more transparency when it comes to this new school that's going to be built. So I think that's a good idea, Michelle.
Okay. No, I've
Okay,
always
and John,
felt
there was
that-
one other thing too in that,
Yeah, go ahead.
in that document on page 10.
Yeah.
And it was recommended that there be a comprehensive review of public safety facilities and needs for joint public safety. And I didn't know if there has been a public safety facility review at all. I know that there's been talk about the police station sinking. But Michelle, has there been a public safety review on the facilities?
No, other than, we get inspected every year for, safety standards, that sort of thing. But an actual needs assessment for public safety facilities, no, nothing like that has been done.
Is it something that we should be doing?
It is definitely something we should be looking at as the municipality continues to grow and our needs continue to grow and our building infrastructure continues to get older and older. It may be something wise to look into. I can try to
Do
find
we
some
want to
details.
discuss this next time?
How about we not do it next time, but give me a little bit longer than that, and we'll give you some details as to how you could go about doing something like that and the avenue that you could take?
Okay.
If
And
we
I
have
didn't
it
know
for-
if also that would pertain to the fire station's new training facility. We should have something like this in place now that we're going to have that facility.
Well,
So
fire
it'd be nice
tra-
to get the chief's input on that too.
The training facility went through a process, its own separate process, and did have a committee.
Yep.
And all of that stuff, and it was actually a
Hello?
regional committee. They were all over the region were fire chiefs as part of that committee. For some reason, the laptop on, the
Froze.
council laptop froze, but I can still see you moving around, Stephanie, on my end. There's been a problem with Zoom all night, so just so folks are aware, there's been a delay. But you're still there, Stephanie.
Nope, she froze too.
Yeah, it looks like that just booted her out. He's
Yeah,
fixing it.
Chad.
Zoom is gone.
Chad's fixing it.
Yep.
He'll fix it.
RIP guys on it.
He's on it.
Okay.
I see Stephanie moving now.
I hear John now.
There we go, we got it.
Okay.
Oh, phew. All right, anyways, as I was saying, maybe the chief can have some input on that too, on whether or not we should have a committee for public safety facilities.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely get them involved in all of that and what kind of pieces would need to be in place for that kind of study. That's usually something that involves a little bit of expertise, but we'll get that together and we'll get it on one of your next agendas for discussion.
All right, thank you. I'm done, John.
Okay, Michael, anything?
Where do we stand on bids for the fire alarm system here in the,
Thank you for bringing that up, because I meant to mention that in my town manager's report. So the company that you received bids from last meeting, Norris, they have updated with some of the changes with regards to security system updates. We reached out to another firm. They're working on getting us an estimate. Kayer Security, who was mentioned specifically that we wanted to get estimates from, it will be the end of February before they will even send someone to look at the building to give us an estimate, and they do nothing with fire alarm systems, only security systems.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring that up tonight to ask you whether or not you wanted to wait for that kind of estimate. And I didn't think that you did, but they were very specifically
No, I don't
mentioned
think-
last
yeah.
meeting.
No.
And that is part of the problem. And we've run into that even with economic and community development when we review facade applications.
Yeah.
Contractors are so overworked. A lot of them won't come give estimates unless they're certain you're going to do the work for them. They're going to do the work for you. And oftentimes, it's a 6 to 8 month lead time before they'll even be able to schedule you for the work. So
Yep.
it's true, a lot of these folks are very, very busy, and they're hard to find. So
yes.
definitely, if you have children getting ready to graduate high school, the trades are where it's at, people. That is exactly where they need to go,
Absolutely.
because it is hard to find folks.
Absolutely.
So we'll continue to put that together. We'll get that on your next agenda, but we just did not have everything in time to get it for tonight. And we knew it was going to be a delay for some of these folks to get us estimates, so.
Okay.
Okay, no, that's fine, just checking.
Yep.
Good.
Peter?
I just got a meeting tomorrow, next next council meeting, I got a legislation policy committee meeting tomorrow with
Okay.
a subcommittee, so
Yeah.
I'll have a report next meeting.
Excellent. Mark, got anything?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think everybody's covered pretty much everything right now, for as far as I know and can see, and we'll just have to, next regular meeting will be on Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and it will be held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom in the council chambers, starting at 6:30 PM. We will now go into recess and sign all documents that require signatures of council members.
Motion?
Motion to go into recess?
Second?
Thank you.
Do we need a
Yes.
vocal? Okay,
Yeah.
Stephanie?
Yay.
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. We are now.